All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on another AEF Podcast. I'm Rob Star, along with
Frankie D, the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail himself. And today we're really excited for our show because we have a special guest, someone we both know really personally, who's been helping us with behind-the-scenes work and especially actually on-camera work too. With the Enchanted Mafia Dark City and previous projects, including the original Enchanted Mafia pilot film that started everything, and then Mystery Solved,
and the Celebration of the Banshee.
Right.
And
a lot of the short films, actually, the smaller ones.
A lot of short films, yeah. My history goes further back than that with her. Yeah, but we'll discuss that when she discusses it with us. Cool.
But yeah, we're very, very excited to finally have it, because this is our first guest, to the podcast. So.
First guest ever.
Breaking the seal. So yeah. Our one and only Kat, I guess, hold the applause. Thank you. Everyone holding the applause. Wow, they are really loud, this crowd. This is a loud crowd. So thank you so much for being here, Kat, with us, talking about just basically a little bit, if you want to share with people what you've done so far on the production, and then past credits.
I think before we get into that, Kat, why don't you explain who you are, what you do, because we don't want to gloss over the fact of how you became this talented.
Pretty much, yeah.
She's
been a huge anchor for the productions.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me. My name's Kat Gillespie. I'm a makeup artist, and I've been a makeup artist for about 6 years, but just the last 3 years I've been doing more film and TV and stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's how I met Frank.
Cool.
Yeah.
And our relationship has blossomed, and it's been really good.
Mm-hmm. Well, how long have you guys known each other for, fully? What was one of the first things you guys worked on together?
I think it was Hitman Hobbies.
Yeah, and I think that was 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't know you. I didn't bring you in. It was Michelle who brought you in.
Yeah.
And then that's how I met Kat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Frank's been great. He's a very talented writer, and he's been writing things for me to do. He's like, what do you want to do in this next one? And I say, I want to burn someone, or I want to cut someone's throat. And then
I write it in.
Writes it in.
Yeah. And it's vice versa, because it's just like, I trust you enough to be like, if I had a vision of what the character is like, and you're like, I don't think it would look good that way.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine, let's do that.
Yeah, it's super collaborative, which is nice. Like, that's not often the case with directors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
No problem.
Well, I think that's what we were kind of going for. I mean, Frank's, even when I first worked with him on the first ever Enchanted Mafia, that was my first time. I mean, otherwise knowing Frank when I met him doing the musical Big Fish. We kind of met each other through that way. So when he kind of brought me on to do Enchanted Mafia, the pilot film, I could tell it was very, obviously it was a very professional feeling, but it was also very much that, for anyone who's not used to being on set, it was very accommodating, it was relaxing,
yeah.
It was even a cozy environment too, for the way the setup was, which was nice.
Yeah.
So at least then, I think we kind of, even talking about going with Almost Elite Films, doing that, we wanted to keep that kind of culture going with our productions.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I really like Frank, you often only have people on who and people who have a good energy and a good sense of humor, people who are like cool to work with when you're there for 12 plus hours. I really like that. Like, everyone I've worked with so far has been like super, super chill and cool.
And that's what I want to bring, because I've been on a lot of sets, both professional and non-professional, and I try to make these sets as professional as I can with the resources I have. And one of the things that I found that always stuck out to me on these non-professional and professional sets are the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're there for, you can be there for 6 hours, you can be there for 12, 14 hours, but it's the people that drive it, right? When people are passionate, happy, excited to be there.
That's right.
You can joke around with any kind of jokes, even in this day and age. I know everything is so politically correct, but we're on set.
Yeah.
That 10th hour, people are going to be mumbling jumble.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what gets said. So I like to bring people on who have that positive vibe, who are passionate, who are goal-getters, because that's what really drives... That's what I think is missing the most in the acting entertainment industry.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of egos, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like you heard it. I call myself the Holy Grail, right? But
there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, we went from like basically doing like Swiss Army knife stuff to saying, you know what, because he was. I said in the first the opening episode, you know, you've been doing your writing, you're producing, you're editing, you're doing even camera work on top of the fact you're directing. You know, the executive producer, you know, with your own budget, kind of going for it. Cinematography, like you name it, you're doing the music. There's just so many different things you've covered. So again, and that's why we said bringing people in, especially to start, you know, the AEF with keeping the same culture alive that you created organically through your own individual productions, uniquely with bringing, you know, people who are like-minded, surrounding them with the same kind of creativity you have, the same passion you have for this type of work, this business, whether it be people who do makeup, people who do lighting, sound, actors, you know, writers, people who work, you know, the electronics, all the audio from camera work. So we try to keep that wholesome, and it's shown so far. Like, we all had a great time doing Dark City. It was nice to even see just again, like the whole essence of it coming together from where we started on the pilot film to now where the 4 episodes are now finally done, shot, and then even having to come back and do the reshoots. Those were fun too, just kind of getting to see some old faces. It was a nice process. So I know you obviously must be excited for the premiere for coming up on August 10th. Which is what, I guess a little over 2 weeks on, right? Just under 2 weeks now.
Just by the time this one comes out, it will be under 2 weeks.
I'm a little nervous. I think with any artist, like, you get a little bit like, oh no, people aren't gonna like this, or like with my work, not speaking about like the show itself is great, like I think it's gonna be great, but you know, you doubt yourself sometimes, but I think overall it's gonna be good.
Your work speaks for itself, and we kind of all saw what you did, like even for when we had to have Sandman when he gets killed in the first film. Like, I mean, your work there, just doing the small details of like the bullet wound in the blood, right? Like, you know, that's just some of the things you've been doing for work, and obviously the makeup too. You did the Stingy Jack. Obviously, we had trouble with the nails, but like, you can tell when people are paying attention to detail of just, you know, certain aspects of characters. Like, you know, even I want to say Father Time with his makeup too. Some of the stuff, the scheme there. A lot of it kind of goes and it shows, and then, you know, I guess we'll see probably when the wholesome of the 4 episodes come out. There's even more characters. We really expanded on what you could do for putting makeup. Like we have the Boogeyman character and
the Plague.
The Plague too is another really big character. That's kind of fun stuff. And then obviously we have, like, you know, like you said earlier about, you know, asking Frank, hey, I kind of want to do maybe a throat cutting scene, and that was a fun kind of experiment of, like, you know, seeing how. Because I've never personally seen it before, you know. I mean, you know how the I guess what to say, the animatronics or even the prosthetics you have to get that implemented. So, you know, you were kind of aware of it watching maybe feature films and seeing their behind the scenes, you know, documentaries, but to see it firsthand in person, especially for someone who has maybe not been on like big high budget film sets, they're cool. They're cool, and you appreciate that work. Yeah,
like anything like a blood gag, like where you have like a bit like a rigged up thing, it's stressful because you know everyone's like waiting on you and like not waiting on you, but you know, like watching you what you're doing, and if it doesn't work, it's like, oh shit, like sorry. I mean, like and it's hard to control. But I made that like out of an old, like a garden pump. I don't know if you've seen those, like,
the pesticide pumps.
I made that. I watched a YouTube video. I was like, I'm doing this. I want to make blood squirt out of people's bodies.
That's crazy.
That's what I said, and I did that, and it took a while. I'm basically a plumber now. Remember we went to that plumbing store and like I did like all the like making sure everything's airtight with these little like notches and latches. I don't know, but
I remember because I drove you. One of the girls, but we went to a few, but the last one where you actually finally got the right pieces and people were actually like listening to you, as opposed to the typical, you know, males like, what's this girl coming in here asking for like
plumbing parts.
And then in the last one, it was a girl who was behind the counter, and she's like, well, what are you using this for? And you explain like, oh, we're in like the movie, we're making a film, and we're going to cut somebody's neck with this. And her face just lit up like, what? I never get this. So this is amazing. Like,
she
that
like,
made her day.
You need a quarter-inch whatever. She like starts spewing off all these terms. I'm like, okay, girl, help me. You got it.
I even put her name in the in like a special thank you in the end credits. I'm like, so-and-so, not her last name, because I don't know her last name, but so-and-so from whatever company it was. Like, thank you.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
That design was pretty cool, just to kind of see, especially because we kind of got some video footage of it too, just the pan across from what we were doing for that, I guess, effect, and then seeing what it takes to do that effect.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I had the experience of that time we did a test on myself too, which was kind of cool, just to kind of sit there in the chair and have a feeling of it, just to kind of have a dry run. And then we tried it, I guess, with one take, and then we did a reshoot with it and did it again. Which that one came out really, really good.
Yeah, and we only did the reshoot because I remember I showed you the first cut of the first episode, and you didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's just me. I can be a little bit of a perfectionist.
Which is fine. And I'm glad you're comfortable enough to say, like, Frank, I don't like this. Can we reshoot that? I'm like, okay, I'll add this into that. Otherwise, everybody, because it is a teamwork effort, and everybody's putting their best foot forward. And if you don't find your best foot forward, then okay, let's make that happen. Or if Rob, you don't find your best foot forward, okay, how do we make that happen?
Yeah,
and then I think
it was nice to kind of work around with, if something doesn't work, maybe we can work around it to fix certain scenes.
Exactly.
And if we can redo it again and we have the resources, why not?
Why not?
But that's the other thing about, like, that speaks volumes to, like, you always having people on set with good attitudes. Because that type of makeup, especially like a prosthetic, you're sitting there for a long time. It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron was great, and Rob, you were great when we did the test. Like, you were like, it always makes my job easier when people are, like, understanding of the process, because it's quite a process.
Yeah. It's weird. I feel like I might say this for only people who might be naive to it. I think sometimes if you're not used to it and you've never done it before, you're more intrigued to do it and you're excited, so you're going to go and ride the roller coaster of the process for the first time or even the second time. Maybe people down the road probably have to do this, like, on these crazy budgets. Okay, we're cutting you in half today. It's like, oh man, I've been on so many other shows. They have to do this. I have to sit in this chair now for 4 hours or however long you got to do.
Uncomfortable, neck piece or whatever.
Yeah, and God willing, the heat is not against you.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we filmed it. I guess the most recent reshoot, we filmed that. It was still a spring. Like,
it was
springtime.
It was June.
Yeah.
It was June.
Yeah,
beginning
of June, right? Yeah. So I mean, the heat hadn't settled in. Like, at least our climate here wasn't cooperating. June this year did not feel like any other type of June that I felt in the past. It was kind of rainy. It still felt like it was April or May-ish.
Yeah, so it wasn't too bad.
Which was nice, because for that scene when we have to, and I guess for what we were doing, it's kind of like a one and done. We're hoping that this shot is the main shot.
Yeah.
Because
the pressure was on. Because it's like, oh, you have one shot to get this right. So a lot of pressure on me, a lot of pressure on camera people, a lot of pressure on Aaron to nail it. But everybody did.
It looked good. Yeah. Even for what we have in the frame rate of the camera looked good. But being a little further back a few feet, seeing how, at least for when it, everything was coming out for the liquid to make it look like it was blood, it came out in the right area. Like I think I remember, if I'm not mistaken, when we did my test run, it also kind of leaked a little bit through under.
The bottom, it came out the bottom.
And that was something nice, because at least it's good that we had a guinea pig or something to kind of work with to see, okay, next time maybe we need to do this, or maybe I'll use a little bit stronger sealer or something where the glue's a little bit more stronger, and that was nice. So I mean, and it worked out really well. It came out really nice. It looked phenomenal. I think it's one of the better shots of the entire web series to say, like, wow, that's awesome. Like, that looked
I'm
really
excited.
good.
Yeah.
You can't tell that it's it's a prosthetic. It looks awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Which, it's why we were happy that, you're committed to the project, and that's why we want to bring people on to talk about these kind of things. So that's why it was nice. But you guys were saying that you guys did Hitman Hobbies together. Was there anything similar to that kind of work in that project at all? Or?
The biggest one I would say was probably when, that I'm thinking, I don't know if you have a different one, is when I get branded.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest one.
Yeah.
So Hitman Hobbies, The Magic of Friendship, for people who don't know, is a combination of My Little Pony and Mafia, like Hitman. And My Little Ponies have these cutie marks, which is kind of on their, like, ass or, like, lower kind of back. So the joke was going to be where one of the bad guys brands me with a star to do a reference to those cutie marks. And that's the only one that's coming to mind, unless you can think of another one.
Yeah, that was pretty, like, in-depth makeup for sure. And then there was, beating up all those people in the alley.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fun makeup, because it's just like, you get a bruise here, you get a cut here, you get this. Like, you just kind of roll with it, and then that's always the best.
So prior to, I guess, even the one we did for Dark City, I guess you were more experienced with doing, like, bruises, cuts, burns.
Yeah.
We call them like out of kit effects. So it's all stuff that you can do like just with stuff that you have in your makeup kit.
Right,
cool.
right.
Whereas like the prosthetics, all that kind of stuff is considered special effects makeup.
Right. Because you're gonna need like
you need specific parts to do the makeup. But like the burns and stuff like that, that's...
You can just buy makeup at any old store that sells makeup then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's impressive. I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, like, you were going to school for this type of work?
Yeah, I went to George Brown.
Cool.
And I did their full comprehensive makeup artist course, and that was really, really good. I didn't even think I wanted to do, like, special effects or blood and stuff. I was just there to do, like, beauty makeup. And then...
Was this, sorry to interrupt, this was George Brown, like, downtown Toronto?
Yeah,
like that one? Okay.
Yeah. And then
nice.
I remember, like, the first day of the third course, I did my very first cut, just a simple cut, like, with blood, and instantly I was like, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah. Well, you already said shit.
I did say shit, but I was like, holy shit.
Right.
This is what I want to do. I never thought I'd like it. I'm like, oh, no, like, blood, no. But as soon as I was able to do one convincing cut, I was like, oh, my gosh, this is what I want to do.
But, like, that program, were they covering all types of, like, I guess, makeup work, with both being cinematic stuff and in terms of even like so TV and all that?
Yes.
And then on top of that, I guess just more or less natural makeup for day-to-day stuff too. And
exactly. Like the first two, it's pretty simple, or well, you know, like you do some high fashion stuff, but the third one is specifically for like film and TV.
Wow.
So that's I learned a lot there, and that's where like that's where I was like, okay, I've got to get into film. I need to do it. I love it.
Right.
And then from there, I guess, were you using, I guess, the credits and I guess that as a part of was that a huge resume boost for you, like, or just to get your foot in the door into the business, or working on projects and like in being behind the scenes for like, because I really don't know too many of the past credits you've done or other than what you've worked on with Frank.
Yeah.
Just other stuff, because I know from time to time you've been on, you know, you've come from set, you're doing long day shoots.
Yeah.
So that's why I was always kind of curious to know, like, how from finishing George Brown's program from there, where was the next step for you?
It was Chainsaw Al.
Okay.
It's a web series, and that's where I met Michelle Rigetti, which is how I met Frank.
Right.
And that's just kind of how it goes in this industry. Like, then Frank introduced me to so-and-so. Like it's always a word of mouth.
Yeah.
For me, I've
found.
Which
is nice.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't had to, like, do any kind of advertisement for my makeup skills or anything in a very long time. I feel like it's all like who I meet on sets, they're like, oh, well, my friend's doing this, or
well, I mean, I think it helps. I think it helps that your work speaks for itself. So that's what goes a long way with the word of mouth part in that business, is that, you know, people can rely on you because you have this great execution of what you do, and even then now you've expanded on top of that. You know, okay, now you can say it. Yeah, I can do this throat cutting scene, probably even blow 10 times out of the park. Even past the point where we just shot Dark City again, because I have an idea now more and more. I've worked on this, and again, that goes a long way with saying, oh, I know someone, and you know, it's through the recommendations of your experience and your talent. So it goes a long way, and I guess that's why it was probably meant to be, that it leads you to where you go, and that's cool though. That's phenomenal that it's kind of led you to this path of where, you know, you're working based on how people have viewed your work.
Yeah. So like big thanks to Frank, honestly, because I think a lot of my connections I've made either through him or, you know, like a third party. Like, it's all kind of come back to you. So, like, thank you, I guess.
Well, you're welcome. It's the Holy Grail at work.
Holy
Grail.
See, there it is.
My God, I was thinking actually what she was saying, and I'm like, you know what? It's Holy Grail right here. He's gonna throw it out there. It worked.
I just hope with everybody who's worked on the productions that I've written, directed, produced, all that, I just hope when we do get like the big budgets and everything, like I can, because everything we're doing is non-union, non-paid, mostly honorarium with like footage and all that stuff. But I hope when we do get big budgets, which I know will come, there's no if and or but, it will come, to start paying everybody and giving people like, okay, we're in this business full time. Now people can leave their, 9-to-5 jobs or their part-time jobs and don't have to rely on that anymore. And it could finally be like, oh, today I get to do this, and then tomorrow I get to do that, right? So that's what I'm hoping for with everyone, especially you, because you're always. What's funny is I always think like, oh, is Kat gonna go for this? So when we did the celebration of the Banshee, it's like, okay, we need a banshee, and it'd be cool if she look like a banshee at certain parts. And I'm like, the only makeup artist I know is Kat. I wonder if she'll do it. I was really nervous of asking you, like, will she do it? Like, I don't know if she'll do it.
Well,
so,
that
like,
short film, that one was really, how do I say, I guess very, I shouldn't say graphic, but it was very, there was a lot of work.
There was a lot of work.
For the spray, of blood for that scene. Like, there was a lot, put into that one, I have to say.
There was death by a knife, which is typical. There was death by
a champagne
glass.
Champagne
flute, yeah.
Stem.
There was the heel.
A high heel, like
somebody gets stabbed with a
heel.
I
remember this the high heel because someone was using it similar to like a hammer,
she's just nailing it in. And then there was the banshee makeup itself.
Yeah, that was a process.
And the splatter went everywhere. I just remember that it was like, the whole room was definitely used very much.
I have a picture. It's probably my favorite picture, and it's somebody had taken it of me when you finally were like, okay, Kat, you can go in and do the blood now. So we'll start shooting the blood.
Yeah.
And the look on my face is just pure excitement. Like, I want to post it and just say, when the director says, go ahead with the blood. And it's just that excitement. It just captured it. I was like, yes. Let's cover everyone in fake blood.
Yeah. Even there, I was glad we got even the photos there with Aaron smiling, and he's just red, like his entire mouth is red from the blood, plus his throat and everything. So
and then Kat, you're standing beside him, just going, ha, this is me,
like awkward thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yay.
Well, it's interesting because so after Celebration of the Banshee, I pitched Enchanted Mafia to you.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to know what was your thought process when I first pitched it to you?
I thought it was hilarious. I thought, I'd never seen anything like that done before. Like, just that dark comedy, that aspect of it, it's pretty clever. Mm-hmm. I was pretty pumped for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you kind of, because everybody knows the characters of Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, all those kind of enchanted characters. Were you kind of excited to work on one character, like to do their makeup, or were you kind of like, oh, I have to do this kind of makeup again?
No. I never felt that way.
Okay.
No, I was always very excited. Was
there one specific character you liked the most?
I guess when Abel turns into
the Banshee,
mm-hmm. That was really fun. And again, Katarina, like, she was such a good sport. She sat really well. Like, that took a long time. I airbrushed her and
right.
Oh, that was for Dark City.
That was for Dark City. Yeah.
I was there on set for that one. I remember that one.
Yeah. And she did great. She just sat through it and. Yeah.
What we're leaving out? So Abel was the Banshee. In the Celebration of the Banshee, that film was played by Grace, mm-hmm. and then Enchanted Mafia: Dark City was played by Katarina. But what's hilarious is both actresses, when you applied their makeup, I remember Grace's reaction more than Katarina's, because Grace looked in the mirror after she was like completely bansheed. And she had like this shocked look on her. She scared herself.
Oh yeah.
And then I think little Grace. And then Katarina, I think, was a little scared too.
Yeah.
Because she's never done any kind of makeup on her. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever done that makeup on her before.
But then she embraced it, and I have a picture of her like wearing her high heels, like laid back on I think Dave's couch.
Yeah.
And she's in that full makeup. That's another really good picture. It's just
and it really came out good. I guess for even the whole surrounding side of like being all green for the Banshee, but like, mm-hmm. you can still see the detail in the makeup.
Can still see
yeah,
which was crazy because I mean even then she comes up close to camera and we have that little segment where she kisses the Easter Bunny on the cheek.
Yeah,
that was you can really see there is a lot of work. I mean it shows going forward with other characters too throughout the whole course of the web series so far with detail, and I think we'll probably expand more on that going forward for the next season of it too, because we've had at least from what people who have already, which is going back to tying everything of people who have been so happy with working on these productions that we bring in because they like the environment we've created, and honored Frank's vision of the whole storyline. Is we've been getting people pitching ideas for future characters.
Yeah,
and it just kind of it piques our interest on what kind of makeup schemes we could think of to have these characters or these people come to life. Which is nice because Aaron was talking about his another character. We thought, okay, and that'd be kind of cool for whatever happened to him if maybe we could, because we always like to sometimes say not write people completely off. we'd like to bring them back. If we can work with them again, especially if we really like them, like why not? It's great. And we thought about what we could do for Aaron. We've been already brainstorming like a jester kind of look for him.
Oh yeah,
with that kind of makeup kind of scheme or something like. Have you ever seen like if you know professional wrestling? Have you ever seen the wrestler Sting? Like something similar to that kind of face paint,
like the Crow.
Like the Crow.
Oh yeah.
They based the character Sting off the movie The Crow back in the 90s because he was big in the late 90s, and then he's still kind of around every now and then. But yeah, like the makeup scheme of that, we thought okay, that'd be kind of cool for someone like Aaron if he thought. Because what was his original idea for it?
I think if I remember, I still have the conversation saved on my phone, but it was like Iago from one of Shakespeare's play where he plays that kind of villain. And then he said, like painting my face, like black or white, something like that. And we can't full out do. We can't full out do a black face.
No.
In this day and age.
No, but it would be different. It would
be different.
I pictured it. I pictured it was the jester's face, and it's not that far from like maybe a type of Grim Reaper type. of thing.
Yeah.
And if we even thought about, because again, what we're saying right now, it doesn't really spoil anyone for anyone. It's like we're just mentioning the character Aaron, like or Aaron's name, not his last name, so it could be Aaron, our Baba Yaga Bafana Aaron.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
But long story short is we thought for the characters necessarily people could be banished from death, so they're not necessarily fully dead in this universe, just because it is full of magic. It's full of
that's the great thing about it being this like enchanted magical thing is there's so much there that you can do,
which we appreciate because we for obviously for the budget regions is one aspect of arguing it's something separate, but we also appreciate the practicality of what we do. So to have the work that you do and other people like David come and help you with the makeup, and if we can keep it as practical as possible to have that realism on camera shown and tell the stories, it really helps. It really shows the depth of where we're going with these characters and the storylines that follow them. Which is nice. So that's why if we can have it where the magical world and someone like his character his comes back and he's just we don't know, he could be a mute or he could definitely have lines. We don't know how we work it, but it's fun. We could expand on that, which is nice. It's very flexible. And we can tell it with the proper logic because no one's really arguing. Oh well, that doesn't make any sense.
That's impossible. No, everything's possible. It's enchanted. So
That's why I like it, because nobody touches upon it. Well, you heard me say it multiple times. Like in the first short film, there's just a light bulb hanging from the ceiling, and it's not screwed into anything, but it's on. And nobody picks up on the fact like this light bulb's not screwed in, but that's always my favorite little touch of everything, because it's like, okay, there is some kind of magical, enchanting atmosphere in this whole series.
Well, we kind of showed a little bit of the magic even with the chips.
With the chips,
with the Tooth Fairy and that whole stuff there, him winning his round.
Magic
at the table.
Baby.
Magic baby. He does that whole kind of thing off with his ring off his fingers. And I think we kind of even did a little bit more of that. Actually, we probably did that 3 times over with a lot of the magic that we did this time around.
This time around.
With the Mother Nature stuff, Boogeyman. Who else? We did even with the whole teleportation stuff. We we'll be showing throughout the series. With Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus there too. I'm trying to think of what else we had for kind of magical moments, like any type of schemes like that. Am I forgetting anything else in terms of other practicalities? I mean, I obviously don't want to give away too much by talking about certain fight scenes or stuff like that, because that's all part of it. But I mean, we definitely expanded more. We'll say that with playing around with editing the camera, or even shooting where we'd have someone stand in a spot, stay still, and then.
I was about to say that was such a cool idea. When I first saw you guys doing that, I was like, what are they doing? I don't get it. And then you showed me what it looks like when you freeze someone, and then that effect is super. It's great, and the fact that it's done so it's such a simple thing, but it looks so.
And that's
so cool.
That's like an old school practical effect, because I remember growing up as a kid. Well, my mom introduced it to me, the show Bewitched.
I was just about to say that. I was going to wait where you're going, but I was going to say shows like that definitely have that. I Dream of Jeannie, those kind of key moments you can tell. Yeah, that's a fun thing, and it's old school, but it's kind of fun. It still can apply to today how it's shot, which is nice. Yeah, those are definitely pulled off really, really cool.
And going back with the practical effects, which include the makeup and everything, it's easier to do when it's right there on the spot, as opposed to. Now, there's pros and cons to everybody, but like CGI, right? It's like it doesn't look as good as CGI. Like CGI looks like it's going to be outdated depending on what you use and all that stuff. Whereas with the makeup, it's right there. We know what it looks like. We can work with it, and then done.
Yeah. I had a conversation with someone recently that was basically saying that the job of a special effects makeup artist is going to become obsolete. Like
really?
Because it's, in the long run, it's actually cheaper to do CGI rather than to like have a life cast made of someone, which in the end, like it's like a couple $1,000s if you do something to fit someone's face. There's a lot of steps, and it is expensive, but it kind of hurts my heart a little bit because it takes the creative part out of it.
Yeah.
Like it's more somebody doing it on a computer, which I suppose is creative in itself, but doing it hands-on, there's something about it, something to be said about it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe depending on what type of feature films would kind of do that. I mean, I can't, that'd be dumb if they would ever, swings that way in the industry.
Yeah.
You can tell on certain TV and television itself that a lot of shows, they still require and depend a lot on people of that, that profession who do that. Yeah. It's important. And I've always, I guess, as an IE fan, but a fan of film and TV, thinking about all the years of from movies from the 90s and 80s and 70s to movies in the early 2000s to now the 2010s, how crazy it is in terms of the budgets have expanded so much. There's so much, they're making more money than movies, but they're also costing a lot more.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which always kind of fascinated me. Like, I didn't know how they could cost so much more, especially with now so much more technological advancements in the CGI area. To see, okay, if they're doing majority of films are in green screen and CGI, how can they be costing so much money if they're in studio on set as opposed to go in a fly to some remote location on the planets to give that illusion that they're somewhere polar opposite planet, world, if it's space or if it's exotic, time, place.
Well, if you watch the credits, and the best time to watch them, because you sit there waiting for the end, is the Marvel films, and you see the amount of people who worked on it. Yeah. It would be one section which will last 3 minutes tops just for CGI effects. Mm-hmm. And it's not one person worked on everything of Iron Man, one person worked on everything of Captain America. It's scene by scene breakdown.
Yeah. Or frame by frame.
Frame by frame, and it would be a certain person will have 5 frames that they work on, and then they'll be out, and then another person will work on the next 5 frames of that. Obviously, it's more frames than what I'm saying, but it's I think that's where most of the budget goes, because they're working. They have 500 people working on just one scene alone.
I can't fully report on this. I just remember seeing it not too long ago of the Into the Spider-Verse animation film that came out, and how long that took for frame, per frame, to get that done. And that looked phenomenal for that type of animation. I appreciated that look for that film. I don't know if you saw the Into the Spider-Verse.
I didn't, no.
It's okay. I only saw it once. I saw it with friends, but to just appreciate even seeing the stat I saw it because I follow, I've mentioned before on the show here, that I follow a handful of Instagram accounts that do cinema. They'll tell you just, behind the scenes tips or quotes or just facts about anything of how they did certain things. So to find out, I can't give the exact, I guess, hourly time it took to do frames for how long it did, but it was a long time. Yeah. A very long time to do that inside the Spider-Verse, or Into the Spider-Verse movie. So, yeah, I guess for the CGI, for the time it takes and how many people they work on it. Yeah. But just I guess if they're paying all these people, that's crazy, just to think of how much movies now have expanded, because you don't get them how you used to. At least, and I think I mentioned to you, I was watching, CNN has been doing a documentary now called Movies. They were doing, Race for the White House.
Race for the White House,
They do the special, CNN always has documentaries, or they do a special documentary on the 80s. They did the 60s, they did 70s, 80s, 90s. I don't know if they've done the 2010s, or sorry, the early 2000s, and then they'll be doing... but they're doing cinema, they're doing movies, and I remember last week I saw they had done a 2-hour episode from 2000 till 2019, It was 2 hours of that because they just didn't want to, do a separate episode for the early 2000s and 2010s. They'll just put it all together and count this millennia as its own episode. And then they did a separate episode for the 90s. But they were showing like movies like Lord of the Rings was crazy for the fantasy world, but also that they still used the wholesomeness of practicality, but also the new where the industry is going since the days of Jurassic Park and Terminator 2 of the CGI.
Yes.
But they would still go and shoot somewhere in New Zealand, and then in the distance would be the CGI effect to give you the illusions of these giant, cities or castles or exotic locations in the world of Middle Earth, but they would still have people on horseback, and if they want to have 20 people on horseback, and it makes it give you the illusion that there's 200, but at least those kind of cool ways to work the camera. And I was mentioning to you, there's even a moment where Elijah Wood with Ian McKellen as Frodo and Gandalf. Gandalf is supposed to be very, very tall in general, but he's 6 foot something. But hobbits are like 3 foot something, but they're supposed to be sitting next to each other in a cart, and the way Peter Jackson positions the camera, it's closer to Ian McKellen's body, so it makes him look bigger, but they also have Elijah Wood sitting on a lower chair in the wagon to give that look that he's a small being, and it's real. There's no fixing on the camera. I mean, obviously they do the frame rate color grading to make the colors pop to you, but other than that, there's no special effect that they're having the stunt double, the short person double that they had throughout the filming of the the Lord of the Rings step in for his place. It was all real. Yeah. And you have to appreciate that.
Well.
Yeah.
But you have to appreciate that people and back then were still doing it, and you would hope that the industry still kind of stays a little bit in that way, that it can still do a bit of both.
Yeah.
To give that illusion, because I think it really helps. Kind of that blend is really nice.
Yeah. I always enjoyed like the typical B horror films because they always did practical effects, right? And then even what's his name, Ray Housen, who did the clay animation for like Jason and the Argonauts, and everything's all clay, and it's with real actors acting against like fighting these skeletons, right?
Yes.
And it's just like that's all practical effect. That's no CGI or anything. And you kind of see a bit of the clay animation recently. Well, not recently. It's been like almost 20 years by now. A Nightmare on
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Where they still did the old school claymation with it, and then nowadays when you see like that CGI, it's like I wish they still did the practical effects.
Not the same.
Not the same.
I mean, it's gotten a lot clearer, but even watching a movie like Jurassic Park, it still feels very well done. Even when we were watching it, doesn't seem like it's aged wrong. It's aged very well, even in this day and age. You look at it. I know when George Lucas redid some of the episode 4, 5, and 6 in the late '90s, he they give him a facelift. They kind of cleaned it up since they had the better tech for CGI. So he cleaned up certain things. People would say they didn't like it.
Anakin Skywalker. At the end, the ghost.
Oh yeah, you know what? We'll probably do a future episode if you want to be on for Star Wars. I appreciate that.
I'll rewatch them all just for that one.
Just for the lore, I think it makes sense for why they put Hayden Christensen in there.
Yeah,
you have an appreciation. I mean, I looked at it that way in terms of understanding for the storyline arc. But yeah, I can understand why people are like, oh, that's kind of weird. Why'd you throw it in? For like decades, it's been always the other actor who played who's been exposed when his face when Darth Vader, his mask comes off. But I can understand why they did. But it was appreciative, and I can tell it. Going back to even how you say you're a perfectionist, I think I sometimes am too, and Frank, which is I've respected about him, he says, yeah, if you want to do, he allowed me to do a few, direct a few scenes, man, go, like I don't mind if we have to do another take, and sometimes it was great on the first one, but I still wanted to do 2 or 3 just to have that extra footage, which is important.
Yeah.
But to see, I think George Lucas was such a perfectionist that he really said, I really want to see if I can give these movies an extra boost, and give them that proper send off of that look of the way I hoped I had this stuff back in the 70s and 80s when I was working on Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 at the time, that now in the 90s they had for the new CGI with the Terminator 2s and the Jurassic Parks and that kind of new wave of cinema tech that was coming in to kind of give people, separate them from reality and take them to a fantasy world. So you have to appreciate that passion and that attention to detail that he was striving for, even a full, I guess you want to say, over a decade later, just since the previous time, but I guess also the fact that his new stretch of films that he was making of 1, 2, and 3 were right around the corner.
Yeah,
because it was 97. He released 4, 5, and 6 with a facelift.
I think so. Yeah, it was late. It was the late 90s.
And then 99 was episode 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it was to tie those two together to kind of get the masses back into Star Wars again.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of appreciate that. So yeah, going forward with if our budget expands, we definitely would like to see that. But we also appreciate the practicality of the work that is put into this
I think
craft.
everything, like going forward, everything would the first thing would be practicality, seeing if you can do it, seeing if you can tackle it, which you probably will. And then the next kind of back thing would be like CGI'd something, whatever it is. The only thing CGI I could see possibly doing, which you wouldn't be able to do, is if we have like a character lift the car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though we can still get that practically done, but that wouldn't be makeup.
We have to do an empty car shop and then have them jack up the car and then kit the camera just as close enough so it cuts out all the walls surrounding it and make it seem like
we do what WWE does with Braun Strowman.
Oh my god!
Just put the hook on the other side and just pretend he flips it over.
and then part of the half side is just not showing at all and stuff, right? So then it gives the illusion everyone's flipped the car.
But going back to makeup, because we made mention you wanted to do the throat cutting, you've never done that before. Is there other makeup that you want to do that you've never done before, or you saw somewhere that, hey, this piques your interest?
I'd love to do a full alien. I mean,
but like Green Man alien,
no,
like gray
a
alien,
well done, with the bald cap prosthetics.
Right.
I would love to do that.
Right.
Old age makeup, that's another one that I haven't, we spent a day on it in school, and then they were like, okay, good luck.
You might have already just given me a peak to interest of just the old age makeup.
Really?
Now I'm thinking about, just because I made a joke with him about Father Time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the X-Men with Rogue, how sometimes she touches people and they spaz. I forgot what her power was. I'm so terrible with the X-Men.
Is she I forget what her power is actually called.
My comic book friends are gonna hate me for not knowing this out loud. They're probably screaming, going like, it's this!
But she almost sucks the life out of you.
Yeah.
So we were thinking Father Time, because we were doing some work with him, that he just touches someone accidentally, and then all of a sudden the guy turns into an old man.
And it's a young...
So that might be interesting. Something down the road we can definitely do, I would think.
Practically speaking, you can age someone with just makeup 10 years, but if you do something called a latex stipple, you can age someone, I think, up to 20 years.
Wow.
Or someone who's probably listening saying, why don't you just use the Face app?
Yeah, I've seen that going around, eh? Oh my god.
I did that 2 years ago. Everyone's catching up now.
So I'm hearing that there was some type of Russian collusion with this app, so they already have your information from 2 years ago?
I guess. I don't care.
Nah.
Doesn't bother me.
But that'd be kind of fun, because unless we just film everyone in the Face app and they're just moving around as their older versions.
Yeah, just the older versions of themselves.
But that would be kind of cool to see old age makeup. But so you're saying, wow, 10 years for...
just with drawing on.
Yeah.
That's more theatrical though. If it's in film, it can look a little bit that's drawn on.
Right.
But the latex stippling, it actually, you stretch the skin and then stipple liquid latex over it, blow dry it, and then let it relax so that it actually enhances the wrinkles that you already have. But it can be really...
But it enhances the look of the wrinkles, not that actually. So how long would a process like that take?
Long time.
Really?
A very long time. Probably, 2 hours.
Wow, just
because
for that
each
look.
section... But if I have David Peckham with me, shout out to David Peckham.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Great. If I have him with me, we could probably do it a little faster than that. I know he's done it before, but and then it's going to be a little uncomfortable for the actor, because it's just you do have to stretch the skin in areas and hold it and blow dry it, and liquid latex. I don't know if you ever smell liquid latex, but it doesn't smell very
It's not
good.
the most smelling smell ever.
Is it if we're gonna go based on that, is it very chemically smell, or is it more just an odor?
Ammonia and a little bit of fish, you know. I don't know why.
Interesting.
It's once you get used to it, it's fine. But when you first open it,
I was thinking more of like a plasticky type of like chemical smell or something like that.
No, it's like
a permanent
strange.
marker smell or something. Huh.
I have like the cosmetic grade one, so it's a little less. Like I know there's ones that you can buy in huge jugs, and people still use that on other people's faces. But that one's just like burns your nostrils.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the one I have is pretty. It's on the lesser side of terrible, so. It should be all right.
Unless we do, like, because that'd be really fun. I would love to see if we could pull that off, even for, like, so you're saying basically 20 years was the max on that kind of job?
And if you had someone with a little bit of facial hair already, I can go in and color, like, the hairs to make them look gray and stuff, and that really ties it all in. Like, that really makes someone look older.
That'd be fun. That would be really fun to kind of see if we can pull off. Other than that, we just kind of get a stunt double and have someone jump in who's a young man, and then have an older man come and jump in with Father Time.
Yeah.
Just do that as a running gag. That he's like, oh man, I didn't realize I would do this to someone. That would be kind of funny. But I would love to see if we can get somewhere close to that. That would be
Yeah.
I can see Frank's riding gears turning right now.
Oh, I'm picturing what's going through my head is somebody just aging really old, and then like Indiana Jones, you know, where his face melts and everything and just deteriorates.
The irony or the funny part about this is they're trying to figure out which is the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
But that'd be he just withers away and dies into dust immediately because he drank from the wrong cup. But that'd be kind of fun to kind of see if we could do something close to there. Other than that, I'm thinking if like it's a poker game 2.0 with the characters, Father Time's taunting someone, and then we could do the practicality of the age for 10 years and just do that and see if we can pull that off. A look on that on camera. To see, like, okay, I fold. Like,
right,
turn me back young again, okay, and then he goes back young again, and just, like, one of those kind of funny moments. Goes, oh, really? Okay, and then that'd be kind of cool. I'm just, like, as I'm saying this out loud, I'm coming up with these ideas.
Yeah, but that's what I love. This project, it's got so much room for, like, you can do so much with it, and I'm pumped.
So much, especially, do we want to segue into this, or save it a little bit later?
I don't know.
Because
what would we be segueing?
I'll bring it up. We don't have to segue into it just yet. But especially because the original film opened up with just the enchanted characters. That were based on holidays. And then in the web series, it opened up to, I don't know what you would call Mother Nature and like summer solstice, winter solstice, but those kind of characters. Yeah. And then it opened up to diseases such as like the plague and anxiety, which brought in a whole nother section of characters that you can play around with.
Yeah.
I think I know what you mean in terms of tiers of like representation of this type of. I don't know how to say it in terms of a word. It's like, you've got your first tier of like characters, your second tier, but in terms of abilities or what they represent and who they are, I understand what you mean by that. I don't know how to describe it. I guess it's similar to, if we're taking back like the old gods of old. It's similar. Like you have there's the Titans, and then there's Zeus, and all those guys are a little bit lower tier, but they still represent big, profounding aspects of ancient lore. Yeah,
I also just thought of like another whole tier we can bring in, because somebody brought up that they've never done that makeup before, but like even space. Aliens.
Oh, there you go.
Right?
Well, but I think that's what I think would probably be. We kind of expanded on that sense that it's not just a world full of these. I don't know. It's the same way like you could say that there's humans and mutants. In the lore of the X-Men world, and then there's happens to just be the Avengers in this world of regular human beings, or Batman's in the regular world of human beings, and just we're all kind of in this roller coaster ride. So there's all kinds of beings or characters, and endless possibilities. But I guess just even going back to going flexible, how much the production is, we kind of sometimes used to ad-lib or add things in at the last minute on the shoot day, which was nice. Like going even back to Aaron's scene there too, we threw a line in there just because it'd be funny, like his character's being like a jerk anyways, like why don't you throw something that has like it's just so dumb that he throws it in there just because he's like we're making the character more of a prick or just an irrelevant dummy. And it's just funny like that, and I think it's why we have those moments that we can bring these characters in and do funny things. But are you talking about in terms of like Kat's appearance? Is that what you're trying to tie into?
Yeah, the segue.
I think it's appropriate. I mean, like, because you'll be playing anxiety in our production, which is nice. You have like, some screen time.
Your first on-screen credit.
Yeah.
Which I find crazy. shocking that this one hasn't happened before.
Yeah.
Out of everything.
Well, it's a very fitting character for me. I identified with anxiety.
But how did this casting go? Was this always kind of straight up did you have an idea? You, Frank, have an idea to bring Kat on screen with this character specifically?
It was always Kat's role. I knew she didn't want to do too many she's like, okay, if I'm gonna do it, I don't want so many lines. I just want something quick and easy. And I went, okay, one line, and then she's just there for the scenes you're in. And what's hilarious about Kat is she's always like, oh, I'm not good in front of camera. I'm not good in front of camera. So your mother-in-law did photos of you, and you don't like them because you're always like, oh, I don't like them. I'm like, when I saw them, I'm like, holy shit, they look really great.
Was this for concept of looking of the character?
No, this wasn't for concept of character. This is just whatever photo shoot you and your mother-in-law is doing. I'm like, Kat looks great on camera. Well, how come nobody's stuck her in front of camera yet? And then you explained why.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to stick you in front of camera for this small role.
Always pushing me.
Yeah.
But I like that. Push me out of that comfort zone.
Yeah, and you did, I think, out of everyone, based on what your experiences in front of camera and all those kind of things, you did, fantastic.
You think so?
I know so.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, I can't wait for the monologue in the second season.
Absolutely not.
We always tease about that.
It's a whole episode. What do you mean monologue?
A Shakespearean monologue.
One continuous shot of 20 minutes of
just anxiety.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to say, I got a lot of respect for people who act. I mean, it's... For me, I was able to do it once, and I was like, cool, okay, we're done. And then, but that's not really how it works. If you're in this business, you know that. It's multiple takes. So that is really hard to sell it every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you got to start right back from the beginning and get yourself back in that headspace and stuff. I'm like, I don't know how people do this, multiple takes. It's just a lot of pressure, and you got to be in that state of mind.
Yeah.
I do. I have a lot of respect for that.
I think we're appreciating people who do the method acting, where they try to, just really get themselves engraved in their characters, and then they'll do things, to really help them ease. They'll get that experience. I think we can go from hundreds of famous Hollywood actors who've done that kind of stuff to becoming taxi drivers and learning how to play, different instruments just because they want to get the feel of what their characters are going to be doing.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes a long way. I found myself just in my kind of, even for any type of experience I've done for acting, it's just kind of have certain ways to relate to certain cases.
Yeah.
And if you're saying you can sometimes relate to the character anxiety, I think that helps a lot, because I'd rather have someone who is playing the role that they have an idea of what they're doing as opposed to someone who doesn't. Now, you have to appreciate someone who doesn't, but they do their homework, they do their due diligence to prepare for it and not come in completely blindsided by whatever they're doing. You have to prepare for your role and, try to show that professional aspect of being an actor or an actress. I've done that kind of similar moments in my life, because I did stuff by take number 5, holy crap, you have to do this whole thing again, a speech, and God forbid, depending on what the stakes are in the part of the story that you're trying to transmit across the scene and show on camera and have people understand where you're coming from. Yeah,
I had one line, and I was having a hard time with it, so I cannot imagine
You did better than Santa Claus.
Yeah, right. He was great.
Yeah.
Right.
So some people who had knew their lines before, and then all of a sudden just completely just went had to have cue cards or almost reading off a teleprompter at certain points.
Yeah.
That's no, it was good. I don't know. I think everyone who did work on the whole thing, at least for the web series, I don't think anyone really had an issue with doing their lines.
No, there was no major issues.
Yeah.
Even what's her name, Zoe, who came in last minute, very last minute. She nailed it like that.
Yeah.
So she was on top of that.
Well, yeah, because that scene there with the witches and the solstices and Mother Nature, all 5 of them. We did how many takes from different angles, and we ran the whole scene multiple times. I think we were doing, I don't know how many. I to count how many times the entire scene was run over, and for every corner, we did the trio shot with the 2 chairs on either side.
Yeah.
Then we did shots of just Zoe. We did shots of just Aaron, but we ran the whole scene every single time doing those, and we did like at least 3. So we ran the same scene 9 times.
Yeah. On top of that, we were also pressured with time.
Yeah.
Because Taylor, who does Winter Solstice, had to leave to go to rehearsal.
Yeah.
So we had to do everything with her first, so she's done, and then she could leave on time.
Well, we kind of blitzed that day, which I was telling Frank going down the road when we were starting AEF and just doing future productions. I'm like, we can't
do those anymore.
Can't do 6 scenes in one day.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's a short film, like similar to what we did, I guess, for like Enchanted Mafia,
for the Mystery Solve,
the first or the Mystery Solve. Yeah. Like there's very, very small scenes, and this is a short film that's going to be maybe 10 minutes, 10 to under 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. We can maybe pull off in one day of a shoot.
Yeah.
But when we're doing the web series and we're basically hitting all 4 episodes in one day, depending on what scenes we're shooting for separate episodes.
Yeah.
To kind of, put them all in one day is tough, because then you kind of lose the time it takes to maybe want to be a little bit more, passionate a little bit more cautious with how you're shooting a scene, and not you don't want it to come across that it was rushed.
Yeah.
Especially with how, oh crap, we only had so much time and we only have like one take of this one angle. It's like, man, I wish we could have had another angle of this if we had more time. Because she wasn't the only one. At first, it was Mladen who had to go that day of the shoot, and who was playing Tooth Fairy.
And he wasn't even called for. Originally, he wasn't called for that day.
We brought him in because we wanted to take pressure off the Wednesday, because we already had to shoot 3 scenes with the Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, and the Boogeyman, along with I'm pretty sure we also did the opening to scene episode 2 that day, which would have been Derek too. Also would have been involved.
Yeah, I think so.
So we were like, okay, we'll throw this scene first thing in the morning, because we have to do an evening shoot like a few days later on the Wednesday, but we already had to shoot a few more scenes, and there was a whole fight scene too, so like, we're not going to have time if we try to blitz this, so let's throw this in there and have Mladen come do the foyer scene, which we did.
Yeah.
And then the upstairs, we threw that one in there. Let's just get this out of the way. It's something that can shave off time for other days. But again, he was gone, and then we moved on to the solstices.
Yeah.
And then we had to blitz the scene out. But I made sure that we stayed on that, and then we kind of broke it up. We filmed some more separate stuff during that day, and then went back to finish off.
Like the scene with Mother Nature where she gets up. There's the shot. We did the shot of her getting up from the solstices, and then later on, I think the last shot of the night was Renee's kind of little, like, why is everyone asleep? Part. So those were shot separately, but on the same day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things like we can try to do this, but I don't want to be put in that position by choice unless we have no choice.
Yeah.
We have to cram some things together, because again we might lose. I think even it kind of, I don't want to say showed too much, but there's some 1 or 2 scenes that we ended up reshooting because of that, or are having to do it, tweak it part of the reshoots, just because we felt that, we don't have enough footage, and we may have rushed it in the first initial principal photography process, which was nice that we kind of got out of the way.
Yeah. Well, everything's a learning process, right?
Yeah.
I can say now I have experience, but when I first started, I had no experience behind the camera. My experience was being on set and just watching what the crew did.
Yeah.
And listening to the terms they used and picking up, like, okay, that terms mean this, this, and that. And obviously, I did dabble, in high school, filming a few things, but that's high school, right? Then it's like, okay, let's test out what for the first film, which was a Valentine's Carol, shots like that. Then realizing, I could have done more here and there. Okay, we'll apply that to the next one.
Yeah.
And everything's always a learning process.
Yeah. I kind of found my inspiration too, at least from watching movies and TV, in terms of the classics. I always kind of just reminisce about certain things that I always remember certain moments in movies. If they stand out to me, and I kind of just not necessarily want to mimic them, but you kind of get inspiration for those type of shots, or the way they work the camera, or the sound, or how they do the editing. So yeah, kind of have the same way. You want to play around. I don't know. I don't necessarily say that, because some guys in the business will say there's no rules, and then there's other ones will say, well, you gotta do this. If you can't do this, you won't be able to do that. Ipso facto, depending on what you're working on in terms of your project. I always found I was kind of the one where I want to be creative, and I'm not going to have anything necessarily stop from that creativity unless it depends of lack of resources.
Yeah.
But if I've got a camera, and I've got the proper people to work with. I don't necessarily believe in this, that there should be so much things that restrict you from showing and telling a story. I mean, you only have one something by something frame to kind of explain and have a story told on there. So I guess there is that kind of push and pull factor depending on what you want to show and how you can show it. We got through it when we did those days, but I'd rather do it. If I'm doing a scene, I want it to be that scene for the day.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Because unless it's something very, very, very small like an inserts, and if we have to because it helps, because we were filming at Tom's place, the one Tom who plays Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get everything that involves his location done in those 2 days.
Yeah.
Which is something that, if we can, we can try to avoid, having it cram and all, right?
Well, yeah, there's that, and there's also the combination of, like, scheduling, right? Because we didn't have, like, if we did half of the scenes at Tom's place, then the next week we would have had to come back. But not everybody for those scenes were ready for there. That's why I
we mentioned that, like, in the first one, it was like, sometimes we're like, okay, hopefully down the road, the scheduling was a pain in the butt, I think, with production.
Yeah.
With, which was, everyone was being, as professional as they possibly could with being, available for shoot days and stuff like that. But we had to work around, for whatever reason, if someone couldn't make shoot day based on personal reasons, it happens.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. It's, we just have to kind of prepare for it. But that's where we kind of were, where like, okay, we have to get this all done, because we're at this location for only a short period of time, and we may not be back here based on if other people can't be back.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get all the shoots done, but...
And then that day was also the third time it was rescheduled.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I can't... There's no way...
What day was it specifically?
The one at Tom's place.
The Witches?
That day was rescheduled 3 times, I believe, and it's like, I'm not...
Well, because that's
gonna
how...
reschedule it again.
It pushed... That scene pushed into November.
Yeah.
That was already in November, and that was like... We had to take... That's where we kind of... It was one of our last shoot times before we took the little bit of a hiatus and then came back to redo the reshoots when the weather got a little bit warmer. So for continuity purposes, we made sure that we could do that. So that was November. I don't know, around mid-November time.
I think it was mid-November, because afterwards everyone's getting into that holiday like timetable where you have to visit everybody under the sun, even though you don't see them throughout the year.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like.
I'm trying to remember now, just based on the fact is it might bug me since I don't remember it specifically at this very moment, but I don't know if it was right after my birthday, because we were banking on the fact that if we get these 2 shoot days done at Tom's house for all the scenes we had to shoot at that location, going forward, like Tom and Mark, they weren't going to be available going into the weekends further into later November, and then obviously December was complete write-off with holidays and stuff like that. Because I do remember Mark was retiring it by that point, wasn't he? Yeah. Was he going to be finishing by Christmas time? He was going to be finishing it off? I couldn't remember now.
I think he was finishing off. Well, he was going to retire around that time.
Yeah. So he was finishing work at that moment, and we were... Yeah. We were based on that. If we couldn't do a weekend shoot, with him because he was busy, then we were trying to do day shoots, which we ended up doing the Sunday evening or Wednesday evening, to do that. But then we had to push the whole fight sequence to that same location, not until the reshoots, because just the way things worked out.
Yeah, and plus with the weather, because there are outdoor shots and some of the costumes that everybody wore, such as Anxieties, which I think you loved.
I did.
You loved the costume?
It. Yeah.
That costume, the boa robe came from Aladdin's theater company, which is Pulse Theater. And then I don't remember, was it? I think it was your idea to do the
veins and a contact lens.
Yeah. When you heard of Anxiety and you were playing her, did you already had that in mind?
Kind of, yeah.
Like you didn't think like, oh, it should be 2, just 1, and...
Yeah, just 1, because it was kind of like, oh, it's taking over. It's constantly there. It's not, you're not completely made up of it, but it is constantly there.
Right there.
Yeah.
So it's something that always kind of lingers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Which you kind of linger over the plague.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, if we can give that effect and that message is kind of made across to everyone, that's who you represent. I mean, obviously, we do have it where Mother Nature does call you by name.
Yes.
Which is nice.
That I think does it, and then my line is just...
It's just that straightforward line.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the plague was originally, I envisioned as a male.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if it was still a male, if you would have played different than how you play it with Rotom.
I don't know. I probably would have. Yeah.
Because there would have been that interesting kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of had where you made the characters kind of be together.
Yeah.
Kind of in the shadows, waiting for their, biding their time for when it's their time to kind of strike or whatever. But yeah, I kind of thought always the makeup was interesting for that one because, like I said, that makeup for anxiety, the plague. Who else? Obviously, Stingy Jack. Yes and no. It's more of just kind of like his attire and a little bit of his hands, and then I don't know how much Dave had. I know Dave oranged his eyes a little bit, right? That's all pretty much he would do.
Did you darken?
Black.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's the Boogeyman. Like that. So yeah, you're one of the few characters that actually has those kind of practical effects, showcased with at least the eye work and makeup.
I wanted like the dark and ominous to come out, right, and to like play with that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, until you get really like for what your character was, anxiety. Until you get really closer to you. At least on camera, it's a pure white ball, eyeball, right? And unless I even came up in person to you, you can't really see it from far away, so it looks like you don't have any pupil whatsoever, which was a cool effect.
Yeah.
It's fun. I know down the road, like we're planning on with some of the other projects we're working on that are planned to come out down the road. Like I'm trying to expand on that too, with working with different color dyes too. With that stuff coming up because. Yeah, hopefully.
Cool effect. Contacts.
Yeah.
Changing the eye colors are always kind of fun. That's why sometimes I've gone to like a few shops, or even I always happen to find them when I go to a Toronto Fan Expo. That I find there's always a booth that has that kind of stuff for Comic-Con.
Yeah,
we'll have those kind of things, and you kind of go and see what they have, and if you want to buy some of those things.
I'm not too sure. I know the old location had it. I didn't check on their new location, but the Amazing Party Store where I get most of like props and costumes and all that. At their old location, they had a huge section of contact lenses. I don't know if they have it in their new location though, but they had like every time I walk by, there's like you can get animal contact lenses, you can get zombie contact lenses, you can get so many kinds of.
If it's under $30 though, I wouldn't.
Yeah, because you were saying it's kind of cheap.
Yeah.
Not cheap,
but these are your eyes.
Bad for eyes. Yeah, I wish I could wear contacts, but I have really sensitive eyes.
Oh my god! Even if I get near your eye with a makeup brush, it's just like waterwork.
And that's me calm now. You should have seen when I first started in this business. I was like shaking.
Yeah.
Well, I only ever wore contacts for the first time ever just putting on those. Like, I just wanted to try them for once because I bought them. I'm like, these are cool. Like, if I ever wanted to do something for Halloween, to kind of have fun with that kind of makeup or kind of design. So yeah, and then I ended up buying a few more just to play. And then I'm like, I have these. I want to use these.
Yeah.
And me playing Cupid and us doing future projects, I'm like, I wouldn't mind having to see there's fiery red.
Yes.
I can see if I can play with that kind of eye
like
color.
Devil. I think they call them.
I have one there. I have one pair. They're called like Red Wolf, and I forgot another one they're called. But I mean, yeah, it gives you that kind of like fiery fury look where it's like that the cut of like red and yellow and orange. They kind of give you that like, fury look with the black circles around the whole side of I guess the rest of the contact. So it was cool, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to try them out. Because we'll be doing again some more practical stuff with that final shoot for another future project we're kind of working on.
Yeah.
It's nice to kind of see how people kind of do it in person, and then when it comes on camera and it's done with the proper tools, it looks phenomenal. It does.
Yeah, it's a cool effect.
The work shows so like in anxiety, it has that effect, which is nice, and it looks awesome for the shots because we have 2 shots of anxiety, right?
We have 2 scenes. Sorry,
I meant to say scenes. I apologize. Yeah, 2 scenes with anxiety and plague.
If you're counting the original stuff we shot, we have 4 scenes of anxiety and plague. Lots of footage, but there's 2 scenes. Yeah, in the web series.
And I'm pretty sure in season 2 there'll probably be more.
There's gonna be a whole episode.
No. Just as long as it'll. My own anxiety will definitely come across in it, but I guess that's good.
It'll look good on camera.
But when you say your own anxiety, do you mean like I guess just like the fact that like you've never done this before, so you're kind of nervous. The fact like of what you may or may not happen in this moment.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Geez, we have to set up couches and like have a zen room then for her. I figured out we'd already be creating a kind of a laid back situation.
Not just that. What was it? Because you always posted it on Instagram. A zen room with lots of peanut butter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Peanut butter.
That'll keep me happy.
Yeah.
That'll keep me very happy.
Okay.
And calm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can do that. I mean, we'll have to also probably keep people out of the way who are allergic to peanuts, but we can do that. We'll accommodate our actors for sure.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'll stipulate that in my
Definitely got to get a
contract.
caterer. We definitely got to get a caterer for our shoots.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Got to get catering.
And then Kat just gets a whole case of peanut butter.
The whole jar.
Could you imagine though, like in terms of like, we're working with you, and then obviously she just goes complete 180. She demands a trailer. She's got these contract demands. It's like, but Kat, you've done makeup for all these years. Now you want to be an actress? It's like,
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not coming out of my trailer until you get me catering. I'm not coming out of an.
And I want Kraft peanut butter. None of the Jiffy garbage. I want Kraft.
Smooth or crunchy?
Smooth.
Okay.
Always crunchy.
Oh my God!
Are you a monster? Crunchy peanut butter is not it. That ain't it.
Dark roast, light roast,
Medium.
medium roast.
Poor David. He wouldn't know what to say.
David Peckham?
Yeah, because we'd probably keep her like in the makeup truck too, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it'd be her trailer, and then like he'd just be like, just the whole time.
Yeah.
Can I have some peanut butter? No, you can't have any peanut butter.
Absolutely not.
What's great also about Dark City is there's a lot of people who work as crew that make appearances in it.
Yeah.
So I think out of the entire crew, you have the biggest part as Anxiety. And then David Peckham, who also did special effects and makeup, plays one of the gnomes.
Yes. Amazing.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
And,
that was a good scene.
and even he's not that thrilled about playing and acting. Because I remember I'm like, oh, we can bring you back for like another episode.
He just said no thanks.
And he's just like, no thank you.
No thank you.
And it's like, okay.
Wow, I didn't know
He doesn't
that.
want-
He doesn't,
But
yeah.
tell me why he nailed that scene though.
He
as the
nailed
gnome.
it, yeah.
Like, they did so good.
Yeah. That's great. Even when they fall
I think he was happy to wear sunglasses. That's probably
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably hid behind the shades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you were saying too, what made it easier when we did the reshoots is you weren't, because I was really close with the camera, but you weren't focused on the camera. You were looking more dead on at Renee, and you said that helped you.
Yeah. Yeah. It did.
Yeah, because you got to focus on her, and then you actually
I think
felt.
that helps. Sometimes, I mean, I guess we talked about how sometimes it's you do multiple takes.
Yeah.
And you'll always have to be aware of where the camera is, but once you kind of are aware and you have that kind of sixth sense or that impulse to know exactly, okay, it's the same way. I mean, if you've ever done live theater, you'll always know where the audience is. They're not going anywhere.
Yes.
For when you're doing a play. And I guess you have to just remember that for this one specific scene, the audience is there with the camera.
Exactly.
You know, just do your work, you know, not have to worry about it. So you're kind of, you get lost in with your character and just doing the scene with your partner or however many people are in the scene with you. You kind of, I think you lose that pressure or that essence of like, oh man, I have got to do this again. You just kind of, okay, we'll take it from the top. And I know, yeah, there can be those intense moments and in uncharted waters, but yeah, I've had those moments too of like, you know, you just know for that moment, the camera's there, and then you go right back into the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once you notice the camera's there, you're like, oh, okay, it's like another person. And that's all it is.
Yeah.
But you have to be vulnerable in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But what helps is when you have your acting partner and they're in the scene with you.
Oh, for sure.
That helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're used to kind of bringing people in from anywhere who have done like, you know, behind the works. I think if you're going to work with us, we'll ask you if you want to come and be in a scene. I've done it. Like I've played multiple characters. Like we've done extra work in terms of that. Just, you know, having just a body in the shot.
Yeah.
Obviously not giving it away that it's me because I'm playing another character in the same
Yeah,
exact film. But, you know, give that illusion is always nice.
And I'm glad Kat, you mentioned like it's like a fun, comfortable setting on set. Otherwise, I think if it was like a horrible setting on set, nobody would be like, well, I don't want to be in it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that kind of helps, I guess. I don't want to say push, but that kind of helps with like, yeah, I'll do it. Because everything's comfortable.
Because I know for a fact you're not going to yell at me.
Right.
Like, and you're not going to, like, embarrass me or, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
that's just not who you are and that's not what you do on set.
Yeah.
So I knew you knew to go in this with a low expectation. I'm not an actress. I am not the most comfortable in front of a camera, but you know, if you're saying it kind of worked out, I'm happy.
No,
I'm good.
Not kind of. It did work out.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, I never noticed any issues.
No,
I mean, again, it was better than Santa Claus.
No.
Although, just wait, because I wish I could take credit for this idea, but Pat came up with this idea, and Pat plays Father Time. He made mention of doing like a roast, like an Enchanted Mafia roast.
Yeah.
And then I thought, how hilarious would it be if Kat, as Anxiety, is the one, like one of the speakers up there,
just like really nervous and twitchy. Like, yeah, I could
roasting someone.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be great.
Actually, that wouldn't be too bad.
In front of a live audience, too.
Either that, or we do it where we have people who've been on camera, personalities in our show, just be like in the crowd there.
Yeah.
So they're coming to attend the special roast, so you're just there in costume, just laughing at the jokes and stuff like that, just kind of going along with the roast. So that'd be kind of fun too.
Yeah.
People would necessarily, because if we just do an Enchanted Mafia, it's just the Mafia themselves roasting each other, and then we'll just have the Mother Natures and them just sitting there, just go, okay, those are funny jokes. Yeah, I get it. This could be fun, but completely 100% in costume, because then we'll film them reacting to things.
Yeah.
That'd be fun, though. It would be fun.
It would be great. That's what I'm gonna plan to do.
Yeah.
But would that be
with the writing? You gotta.
But would that be a special feature? Or that wouldn't be like canon, would it?
No, that wouldn't be canon. That would just be like you know how like comic books have so many different like one-off kind of things. That would just be a one-off kind of thing, where because you just brought up, I would have to write it, and I know Pat said said like he wouldn't know what to say unless it was written for him.
Yes.
But I was expecting for like, okay, if you're in your character, you can come up with whatever you want to. That way, when we're on stage, like we don't know what we're gonna say, and hopefully it comes out hilarious, and we get our genuine reactions to it, right?
Yeah.
But if people need like a little, like I wouldn't write full out dialogue. I would write like bullet points and stuff like that. That way, then whoever's playing the character can, if they want to touch upon it, can touch upon it. If not, can go from there. Mm-hmm. But that I don't think we'll do anytime soon, unless something like happens.
Well, we didn't even decide whether or not. I mean, it would be a live performance or a live performance that we filmed, or just a thing that we filmed just on a day.
I still think it should be a live performance that we film, and then we would sell tickets for like people who want to come and see it, because we already know the venue. At least I already know what the venue would be.
Where the premiere is?
Where the premiere is.
Yeah, it could definitely be pulled off there.
It can be pulled off. Have you seen the venue yet?
No.
No? Okay, there's a nice little back room that has a little stage.
That's where we'll be having the premiere, the whole layout with everyone, which is nice, on August 10th. For the whole shebang of the first season.
Yeah.
Which is nice, but yeah, it has that kind of, you can get away with that look and that setting of having a live, comedy roast. The only thing is now we have to just decide if there's written dialogue, or we have people write their own dialogue as their own characters and see what they say. That'd be kind of fun to kind of see where we go from there. But that's nice that we're just kind of always having ideas, always putting stuff on the back burner that say we want to touch up on this, because there is a lot to do with these characters and have fun with them, whether it be canon or just kind of like little moments that we film.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think so now going forward, we kind of have planned, we don't want to give too much away, but and your character would definitely be showing up in the next season, which is nice, because again, like we say, we kind of not necessarily don't like to burn our bridges, but we just kind of like to work with people. We're always happy if we have people we bring on set that we want to work with, and they happen to not even be actors, so we just find ourselves being on camera. It's one way or another.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how it is, because...
Don't be surprised if you're in the background of Mystery Solved 2.
Sure, yeah.
And Mystery Solved 3. We already have stuff, like, not necessarily fully fledged for Mystery Solved 3, but just funny running gags for Mystery Solved 2 and 3 that we're kind of like thinking, because... Yeah, there has been a little bit of an excitement. People have been whispering, saying, "Yeah, we would love to see a second one." So that's what we're happy to announce. That's kind of in the works of just talking about expanding on that storyline too, with those characters.
Yeah. And
Mystery Solved, which would be fun. So yeah, you definitely would be going, and it's black and white, so it's not like we're doing crazy stuff. That one there's even a little bit more fun, because as much as we won't be doing crazy cosmetics and stuff, there's just a lot of like tomfoolery and
Yeah.
Like if you've seen the Naked Gun movies or any of those, even parody films of like detective films, like it's that kind of stuff. So yeah, even that has funny, endless possibilities and illogical moments. It's just that, but it's fun because that's how crazy that can be. And we might incorporate that. I don't know. We could go incorporate that depending on what we want to do for Mafia going forward, for comedic purposes. I think with going with the premiere, with showing because we'll be talking about, I guess, for the people who show up at the premiere in person, they're going to get special treats with obviously seeing the episodes for the first time compared to everyone else when they finally gets released to the world.
Yeah.
But is also our next chapter of what we're working on, which you obviously are aware of with some of the stuff we're working on. But it's going to be nice to kind of see. We're taking a little bit more of I don't want to say too much of a serious approach, but we're kind of now giving these characters, crafting them a little bit more
depth,
in depth, and keeping them strong.
Yeah.
Kind of in the similar ways, I guess we're looking at as a basis of the way the Avengers kind of did their things. They had obviously their solo films, and then they always had their collaborative, like obviously being the Avenger films.
Yeah.
And depending on what directors did certain key superhero movies, they always sometimes maybe had a little bit of a different theme to them or a feel. Some of them were a little darker than others. Some of them were a little bit more comedic than others. So with the approach of what we're working on the next project with some of the Enchanted Mafia characters, we're taking a little bit more of a serious approach just to give the people, like the audience, can connect to them more. These are characters, but they're also, some of them were humans that turned into these characters, and we'll give those backstories to some, which is nice. So we'll be doing stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not going to say too much.
No, not too much.
Can't yet. It's too. But we're excited. It's how it's just like on the tip of my tongue because of how excited we are doing those, and we obviously know about it because we'll have you involved in all of them. So you are a huge anchor to us. Goes Frankie D, I would say you, and then I don't know. I think the whoever comes third, fourth, fifth kind of goes down the totem. But it's
well, you're probably third now.
Third now, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I can't say yet. I don't like to put credit on myself just yet because it's a team effort. I mean, when we started AEF, Almost Elite Films, we wanted to bring people in that, like I've said earlier in the show today, that have the same ideas, passions as us, whether it be, again, makeup, visual effects, acting, directing, screenwriting, you name it, whatever it takes to make films, short films, stuff like that, and including when we do the shows like this of talking and bringing on guests who want to talk about some of the stuff they're excited for or their passions, depending what the subject matter is. And this goes back to, I think, what we said about, we've talked so much about the atmosphere of our shoot days, or what it's like being on set. Excuse me. We want to bring people who have that experience, who've been on, maybe a feature film set or have been on these professional sets, but we also are welcoming to people who've never been on. And we want that. We want that blend. We want to feel people who are, because again, going back to, no pun intended, the anxiety. People who like acting get sometimes self-conscious about themselves because they've never been on a set. And this is something that, hey, maybe we're not the most high-budget, high-tech, high-demanding set, but it's something that can ease you into somewhere down the road if you want to take your skills as an actor or actress, as a makeup person, as a special, like effects, you name it. Whatever you are that you can contribute to this, we want to use it as a launching pad for other people, but we want to expand, obviously, AEF. We want to expand it so it's just a household name. We know it's going to go there where we're building to that. We want it to be very welcoming to anyone who has creativity, ideas, and that's where we're kind of going for it. So it goes a long way with bringing you on here and talking about that kind of stuff. And you've obviously showed, like, I was nervous about doing it. I've never done acting before. I've done it once, and so and so. But that's I think bringing you on today is one of our special first guests. It kind of shows that if someone like you is willing to do this, who's never done it before, this is what we're all about, is kind of making people feel comfortable and not have to second guess themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're even, like, so happy with all the process that you even brought David Peckham in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
To give you a hand. Otherwise, I don't think you would have brought. Although there was that one makeup artist on Hitman Hobbies who I keep saying she broke my heart.
Oh, Nina.
Yeah, she broke my heart. But I think if you didn't find, like, everything to be comfortable, I don't think you would have brought everybody. I don't think you wouldn't be sitting down here right now. We wouldn't be discussing this.
Well, yeah, like, I know, like, with this one here, with this episode we're doing of this AEF podcast, the thing is that, like I said to Frank, I wanted to bring people in that I could trust, that we can rely on.
Yeah.
That we not necessarily we can lean on and we can trust. So like we counted you as being part of like the AEF family. Like if there's a crew, like if they're like saying the Sinister Six, like those kind of things, the Avengers, like I'm not trying to get all like cliche with bringing those. I just can't think of anyone off the top of my head. The crews,
the Rat
like,
Pack.
Yeah, like you're thinking of people like when you think of a brand, you're thinking of those faces that kind of like those like the Rushmores, but of that kind of people who represent. So we thought, Kat would be part of our brand. She could represent the brand as her own entity.
Yeah.
For her own stuff. This is, again, it's communal in that sense. We're bringing in people that we trust, we have faith in, that have time and time again proved us right every single moment. We've never had any doubts. That's why we have them always. I mean, how many times have we had to bring you in a shoot, it's something minor, but we want you there because, even though you may not necessarily be doing too much, we kind of still want you there for that feel that, your presence on our sets is important. Yeah. Regardless if you may not be saying too much vocally, it's still important that we have you there for anything because, you've worked on different shoots, so you'll have an idea of what, okay, maybe this angle, and we're open. Like, I was directing scenes, but I was asking advice from everyone because we're all passionate about, we all want to work and make something like Enchanted Mafia Dark City really, really good quality, and we really want the product to come out nice, along with the original Mafia movie, Mystery Solved, along with future projects we're working on.
I'm glad you're bringing this up because it reminded me, even when we did auditions for the web series, you've never been in the audition room before.
No, and that was really cool.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm going to have Kat there because she's a big part of this.
Right.
And I think some people who were auditioning were just like, why is the makeup artist in here? And it's like, well, why wouldn't you have the makeup artist in here? Because the makeup artist needs to see the person too.
Yeah.
Because there's so on the recent docudrama I'm doing, I got called because I need long hair. And they gave them my headshot where I don't have long hair. Well, long hair in terms of what I have now, because I like to keep it short. And the makeup artist is like, what's your hair like, and all this stuff, because the headshot they gave me is kind of old. Whereas it's good that you see them in person because the headshot might not look like them exactly at this moment because they didn't cut their hair or they have a beard in for another shoot or whatever the reason is. And you see them fully and you're just like, okay, they're about this height. They have, their skin looks like this. Their hair's like this. So you knew bang on, like, I can work this with this and that with that. I think one of the questions I was asking you, the big question on that day for the actors was contact lenses.
Yes.
Right? Because of the Banshee. And it was good that you were there because there was a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't know, like the terms of, and you were just like, well, it's like it would be like this kind of makeup. Are you allergic to this? Or
allergies is the big one.
Yeah,
the ability to wear contacts.
So that was great having you there, and you, like you said, you enjoyed it because you've never.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of all learned together. And we kind of give each other, advice or pointers depending on, some we never know. Someone might know something, and it kind of helps to just hear their opinion about it.
Yeah. Because I wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah.
I would have been like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nice, where we can work together and trust each other on what we're working on.
Yeah.
Did you have the questions prepared for her?
Not a question. So are we? Because this I was gonna say for the very end. Is this the very end?
I'd probably say unless Kat had anything else.
Okay.
I don't mind.
So originally, this is how this came about. Originally, I was gonna do a talk show called Backseat Babble.
Right.
I only managed to do one with a good friend of mine.
I want to say that's not completely done yet. I want to say that's not over.
Okay, because
we have it on the show here today, saying that it's not dead.
It's not over. Okay, because a friend of mine who was the first guest on it by the name of Chad, who's a fantastic musician.
Yeah.
And one of the gimmicks, I'll call it, was I have this box that's loaded with questions. And these questions span from, like, what's your favorite ice cream flavor to, like, boxers or briefs, right? And everything in between. The thing is, though, you don't know what question you're getting.
Okay.
Nobody knows what question you're getting. You're going to stick your hand in this box. It's an actual physical box. I'll do this so they know.
Yeah. Little wooden box.
It's a little, well...
I want to know if we should get sound effects here, like the crowd's reaction is boo, the heat.
So you're going to stick your hand in this box. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of... Without looking, pull one out, give it to me, and I'll read you your question that you decide.
All right, let's do it. Let's ruffle it around. you strategically like place ones on top that you really want?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're all mixed in.
Is that 2?
No, this is 1.
Okay.
Okay, so she pulled out a question. Let's see what this question is. Okay. Would you rather sweat melted cheese or have snakes for hair?
Snakes for hair, hands down. Didn't even have to think of that.
You like Medusa.
I would rock that hard.
You wouldn't want to sweat melted cheese, though?
Hard pass, but
Well, she'd be great at dinner parties.
She'd be great, yeah.
That would be great for dinner parties.
If you're stranded on an island, it's like, I'm hungry, what do I do? Okay, just sweat. No.
Just go for a jog.
Yeah.
No. Snakes for hair is like my dream.
Every slide would be fun. I'm just thinking for the cheese.
For the cheese? If you melted cheese.
Every slide.
Oh, that's a good one.
So snakes for hair, is it because of Medusa or just...
Yeah, that has a big part of it. Also, I love snakes. I had like pet snakes when I was little.
Right.
Garter snakes, but like...
Right.
Still.
Right. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting fact. See how these questions bring stuff about?
Love it.
Also, it gave me a good idea. You can bring Medusa into Enchanted Mafia.
Oh, that would
be cool makeup.
Yeah.
That'd be one hell of a practical thing now.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, like if we had to do some type of work for some wig work.
But she could be like a stone version of Medusa. Like she could the snakes don't have to be like moving. It could just be her like in the statue form. I don't know.
Not it's like how we do with the other characters where it's a humanoid, because Medusa also has like a snake-like. Well, I've seen different variations.
Yeah, there's a few.
The Clash of the Titans
is the one I'm...
I don't know, because I've seen versions where it's the full woman's body, but just snakes for hair.
And no eyes, like white out.
Yeah. And then when people look at her, she turns to stone, so that would be another...
No, she turns them
to
stone.
They turn them to... Yeah. Where that would be another makeup job.
Another cool makeup.
Yeah. Huh.
The gears are turning in Frank's writing head.
So for these snakes for hair, would it be like every strand, or would you want just a couple?
I'm thinking 10 to 12.
Right. Then it's just gonna look like dreadlocks. Then at that point,
yeah,
it's gonna look like moving dreadlocks.
10 to 12 small, medium snakes.
Any specific color?
Green.
Green
and yellow.
So we got half boa constrictors and
yeah. Would you want to control them, or do they have like their own?
No, I think I let them live their lives. I let them do what they like.
That would be rough, because if you're trying to eat and then boom, snatching.
But they would listen to me.
Right.
But for the most part, I would let them live their snake lives. So.
That's interesting.
I would.
That's interesting. All right.
Oh, my snakes are falling out. You're just checking yourself in the mirror.
I'm shedding again.
Or if one's being like really annoying, and just like, stop it, Timothy, stop it.
Yeah, I would believe that. Not bad. How many questions are we doing?
Just one.
Just one? That was the one?
Just the one.
Wow.
That was the one.
See, I told you, they're random.
That was a good one. I'm glad it wasn't something really introspective and like deep. It was just...
There's some in there, because I wrote these a long time ago. There's some in there that deal with like, where is like the weirdest place you've done it?
Oh. Okay.
Right? So.
Yeah. Just a healthy mix of
It's just a healthy mix of randomness.
See, now my stupid sense of humor is coming into play, and I'm just thinking of just reading dumb ones now out loud. I'm just like, what's your opinion on such and such, and then just go from there.
There's one that is it's only 2 people who pulled the question out, Chad and yourself. But there's one that says like, is cereal a soup?
Is cereal a soup?
Yeah.
No, because it's not hot.
But you have cold soup.
Damn, I knew.
See how this goes into...
What do they call that? A vichy swage? I don't know. There's a name for that cold soup.
Well, yeah.
So fancy.
Gazpacho.
That's the Italian version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got me now with the whole cereal debacle.
See how these questions provoke.
Or what's the one? Is a hot dog... Was it you who asked me that? Somebody asked me, is a hot dog a sandwich or... Oh, damn, I can't remember it now.
Or a wrap.
Is it a sandwich or a burger? I can't remember it, but it made me think so hard, and I was like, well, now wait. I don't know.
See, I always do the poutine one. The poutine is a salad. Because what's in a salad? You have a vegetable, you have dressing, and you have toppings, right? So it's a poutine. A potato is a vegetable.
It is.
The dressing is the gravy, and the topping is like cheese curds. Cheese curds, yeah.
And then don't forget the accessories of someone's. People like the pulled pork on it, or bacon, or sausage.
Buffalo chicken, yeah.
For me, I've always been a fan of just an original. Sometimes, I mean, I don't hate the accessories. I just, maybe for budget reasons, sometimes I just like I don't want to spend all that money. I just like a traditional one, which is always.
But it's hard to mess up. I mean, fries, gravy, and cheese.
Yeah,
you can be surprised. You can be surprised. Some places they do not know how to make, and you'd be ashamed because us being here in Canada too.
Yeah,
I like smoked
poutine is good. I like the cheeseburger one.
Oh, I haven't had that one.
That's a meal on its own.
There we go. See, now we're creating new questions. What is your favorite poutine?
See, well, we can't. We already asked. The sweat melted cheese.
But yeah, we'll say that like that'll be fun. I guess even if we did, we should probably have that at questionnaires going at the premiere or something. Force people to ask questions like we'll do an interview before we do the backdrop photos.
Right,
and stuff
right.
Like that. You excited to be at the premiere? We do because we wanted to do for the premiere like a red carpet event kind of style, where we had everyone kind of come in, take photos before they got to they went to their seats, and then just can get drinks and obviously get food and could be accommodated that way. But we wanted to create that kind of atmosphere, and that's why I was thinking, going through my fantasy bank of just saying like it'd be fun if we had like an interviewer and like have someone like to video the questions and people, and then they go and take their photos with us or myself or Frank, depending on who is available at those moments. So yeah, we're kind of still expanding a little bit on that, but I wouldn't mind doing some stuff like that. Just have some fun.
Yeah.
With that,
just
to kind of keep people involved, like engaged. That they're not just there. Obviously, the main reason we're all there is to see the final cuts of Enchanted Mafia: Dark City. But to kind of keep everyone engaged, because it was a special event, and we wanted to invite the people that we would appreciate what we've all worked on.
Yeah.
Apart from cast and crew, just special friends and family.
Yeah.
That were coming to see this, that we're excited to. So
just to keep that whole like comfortable atmosphere, fun atmosphere going.
Right.
And try to get as close to a professional red carpet as possible.
That's why, because I just have been laughing in my head thinking about just so many funny moments of those type of situations. But even like if we have to address everyone in front of the entire room, just those kind of funny moments.
I shouldn't have crumpled this up as much. You can have it now.
I can keep my question.
Keep yeah.
Amazing.
That'd be fun.
Because that's what I did with Chad. I gave him his question.
Well, there you go. There's our first souvenir of the podcast. Then a question.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be fun. So we'll see. We'll expand on there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to wonder. Did we have anything else to ask?
I don't have anything else. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Kat?
No, just thanks for having me on. I mean, this has been very fun.
Yeah. No, thank you for coming on. We know, because we know you have a crazy busy schedule too, right? So we want to appreciate like your presence being here. Mm-hmm. This is definitely always going to be appreciated anytime.
Yeah.
For when we're shooting or any type of scenes or doing stuff like this for our podcast.
And I'm sure you're going to be on many more.
Oh yeah,
I'd be happy to. Yeah.
Well, again, you're like I'm not going to get all sentimental and cliche, but you're AEF royalty, your AEF family.
Yeah.
So that goes without saying.
Proud to be.
Because like I said, we'll bring on guests, and I think it was appropriate to kind of bring someone who we have so close to us. With all the stuff we've done so far, and then we're continuing to have you, so it's kind of like a no-brainer to bring you on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially as the first guest.
I had no idea what I was going to talk about or what I was going to say, but like it just, I think you guys really helped with that. But I think it went well. No,
it was more like, again, we've said it earlier, to bring on people that, depending on who they are and what they want to focus on, that's related to them.
Yeah.
And then again, if it happens, so be it. Like today with you relating to what we've worked on, because you've done so many things with us.
Yeah.
It helps that there's that kind of chemistry, that bond.
For sure, yeah.
Because I think if it was anyone else, depending on what we were talking about, probably have to be asking more questions to them and getting like.
Mm-hmm. I'll come on if you do the Star Wars one, I'll do that. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Cool.
So,
Awesome. Cool. I would love that, because we've been thinking about. I've been mentioning to Frankie D that we wanted to kind of do, if we were doing like a Ghostbusters one, for he would obviously take the lead for that.
Yeah.
With all due respect, because he's, not to say I'm not a fan of Ghostbusters, but he's.
I know more of the lore. Yeah. Whereas like Lord of the Rings would be you.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars would be me. But also the fact is that Frank did a show of Ghostbusters. He'd probably talk about Ghostbusters the films, but also Ghostbusters the story arc and the actual lore of that universe.
Yeah.
And we wanted to do both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where we kind of talk about those kind of things, like how they did the whole
Well, the Stay Puft just a little taste. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man costume I believe they had two or four. I have to double check that. But like for shooting purposes, and both of them or all four of them got destroyed. So there's no more actual from the original film the costume.
Wow, the original costume, like...
Yeah.
But I feel like that would have been somewhere like, down the road, it would have been like, oh, that costume was on auction for $200,000. Like,
you'd think so, but they both got destroyed because I know there's serious collectors out there that would like a chance at that. I'm just excited. It's hilarious you brought it up because... Oh, we can keep going on, but we should stop. But I'll say quickly, it's hilarious you brought it up because Spirit of Halloween, which is a costume place online, just released the real Ghostbusters costumes.
Wow.
So I had my eye on Egon Spangler, which I want to get for Halloween this year.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like the blue jumpsuit with the pink cuffs and collar, the hair, and the red glasses.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean... That's something we would...
That's mine, yeah.
But that would be something we would do. Like, we'd have a show, and we'd probably do... Either we might just do one episode... It'd probably be two parties, depending on what the subject is. We might just do behind-the-scenes stuff of what it took to make, the Ghostbuster films, and then we might do another... Depending on how long it goes, and then another episode of, the actual storylines and stuff. Or, if it's appropriate, we'll do both. Because, this past year, Fan Expo 2018 in Toronto, I was happy that I got it for $73, but it was a big book of Middle-earth, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and it showed you how they built certain locations,
right?
But they also talked the lore about what these cities were and their actual what they mean in the Tolkien books. So I was inspired of talking about stories, and depending on what genre, if I'm talking Harry Potter, the same kind of thing. I wanted to talk about how they built certain parts of Hogwarts for movie scenes, and then how old is Hogwarts, and then the lore of that behind that. I wanted to do both. So yeah, Star Wars is a big, massive universe, so to bring you on would be great. And I know we'll probably have a few other guests to come on, probably that same exact show, do a round table, maybe take people's opinions. There's a lot of people who are obviously for Star Wars, we'll just say are split between... Remember, it always used to be prequels or the originals. Now it's prequels, the originals, or the sequels.
Or the sequels.
Yeah.
But to me, I always just go, there's George Lucas's Star Wars and there's Disney's Star Wars.
Yeah.
To me, the only, I probably would get eaten alive depending on who's listening to this, because the only Disney Star Wars film that I've liked so far that they've done is Rogue One. Out of all the Star Wars movies that they've produced so far, I've only liked Rogue One. I appreciated the practicality in that film. But that's a story for another day to get in depth with the other films that I wasn't necessarily completely a fan of. I appreciate, obviously, we know what it takes to make a film, so I'm never going to say it's an abomination to cinema history.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a lot of work and there's a lot of people that work on these productions, but, in terms of where... again, the other side of the coin of the lore and the storylines, that's where we have issue. And that's what we even do this when we talk wrestling, right? There's the behind the scenes stuff with the actual athletes, these performers, but then there's the storylines that we see, the way that the company of wrestling portrays their storylines on camera to us. So that's where there's those big round table discussions. So we'll probably definitely do that with you. Come on to do Star Wars or anything else. Do you have what other things were you a big fan of other than Star Wars? I know we do Family Guy.
I was about to say
Family Guy's a big one.
We did a Family Guy one. That would be amazing.
For sure. Family Guy would be awesome.
Or we can combine them and do Family Guy's Blue Harvest.
Family Guy Star Wars is, I literally was thinking about today. I was
so
driving I'm taking this couch. I was thinking about that today as I was driving.
That's such a good scene.
No. What was I doing? Sometimes I've changed lanes on the highway. And I'm like, wow, that's your move. You, what's he say? Listing lazily to the left or whatever. What does he say? And he goes, yeah, I got maneuvers. And then they're like, where did he go? I can't see him.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, there he is. There they are right there. Wow, this guy's got maneuvers.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
land like a dainty butterfly, and then the ship just
But that's how in my mind it quickly pops in my head for just even day-to-day stuff. So that'd be fun to do. To do Family Guy, you'd be more than welcome to. Because I don't know who else would I can't think of anyone right now in terms of off the top of my head to bring off for Family Guy, but that'd be amazing.
Yeah,
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess we can say we're good for today then?
Yeah, I say we're good for today.
All right, perfect. Well, everyone, thank you guys so much for listening to us on the AEF Podcast, Almost Elite Films. Please, by all means, give us a like, a thumbs up. We really appreciate the support. It's always welcomed. We're open to suggestions and comments for people who want to see other things we want to talk about, or other maybe genres of movies or television, or topics to specifically anything, not just cinema or movies, that we want to talk about, and maybe have people brought on to talk about those subjects. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. We have a huge Facebook following. We also got us on Instagram, Almost Elite Films. Don't forget to check us out. Myself, Rob Star, Rob Uniti, and Frankie D himself.
Yep, both on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah.
I also have a Facebook page, but that's not really important. And then Kat...
No, you look really good on that Facebook page. Don't shortchange yourself.
Well, and then Kat, you're on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, Instagram, for the makeup, I have 2 accounts.
Yeah.
One's at catseye_SFX.
Cool.
Yep.
That's for the special effects stuff. And then the beauty stuff is catseye_beauty_MUA, like makeup artist.
Perfect.
Love it. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we'll catch you around.
Awesome.
Ciao.